Hello, welcome to Astronomy Live. Tonight with a hangout with WTF Sky to address Steve Olson WSO video claiming SDO Shenanigans. So a few days ago, WSO put out this video complaining about the October 30th eclipse of the sun, which occurred as the moon passed over the sun. And in this video description, you can see he asks, okay, if it's the moon, why on August 3rd, and actually it was August 2nd, did it move from left to right? And today it went right to left. Shenanigans. Good test to see who is telling the truth today on WSO. So as you can see, he's already setting up the narrative that anyone who says this is the moon is lying because it moved left to right in October and right to left in August. So let's play a little bit of his video and see what he says. Actually, you guys can't hear that, can you?
No, I was just gonna say I'm having problems hearing that.
Sorry, let me wind that back and play it again. I will fix this. There is a solution. Let's see.
Just blame it on Nibiru.
That's it. Anything that goes wrong, it's Nibiru's
fault. Nibiru. It's Nibiru's fault.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go. This will.
The 30th of October, and what you're looking at here is the SDO satellite, which we talk about all the time. And I know that Wayne and I have taken a very contrarian view to the mainstream science people, okay? But watch this eclipse today, and then we'll talk about it some more. So you notice that the object comes in front of the sun from the left to the right. Moves from the left to the right. Everybody's saying it's the moon again, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then tell me what happened on 8:02. This is August 2nd. It's 11:28. Same phenomenon, okay? Can you tell me why the moon in this one is moving from right to left?
Well, Steve, the camera's upside down and it was being adjusted.
Oh, okay.
No, listen, Steve, this is, by the evidence that we're seeing right here, this is remarkable. I mean, it's saying that the moon is retrograded in its, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Transit? Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, so my question is, how does the moon go the opposite direction two different times? On August 2nd, it goes one way, and then on October 30th, it goes the other way.
Can you put...
I just can't. So retarded. Beavis and Butthead Astronomy. It's like so retarded. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, it's not that they're wrong about the direction that the moon took on these dates, because here we go. Here's Helioviewer, and October 30th, it does move left to right as the eclipse occurs. Great. And if we go back to August 2nd, and we go back here, let's see. Okay, so yeah, it hung up. What happened here is SDO had a bit of an oopsie. It had some sort of battery fault and power failed on the spacecraft, and basically went into an emergency sort of safe mode. It didn't return to science mode as it was expected to after the eclipse, and it ended up only seeing part of the eclipse. It actually stopped right here, and all that. This is the last image it got for the day, and then it took a couple days for them to restore the spacecraft to its normal mode. But you can see it moves, you know, it comes in, here's the start, and it comes in from the bottom right, it moves up. So what's the deal? Why is it, you know, different directions? Well, I've revived my spreadsheet, my SDO calculation spreadsheet, and updated it with some new observations. So just to recap for anyone who's new to this, Back in September, I used my telescope to conduct some observations of the Solar Dynamics Observatory and tracked it in its orbit. And there's a old video from September 8th you can see on my channel showing a time lapse of the SDO spacecraft as it goes into Earth's shadow. And I used those observations to calculate the orbit. And then back on Halloween, I conducted some new observations to update the orbit and make a more precise determination so that we could get some information on this latest eclipse from October 30th. So I didn't stream this on my own channel, but on your channel, WTF Sky, I did hop on your hangout that you were having that night and showed some images that I was capturing at the time with my scope. So there is SDO once again from October 31st, and the scope was tracking it. And great, so we got some new observations. And here's basically a stitched image of a few of those observations. It's a little bit noisy. There's a lot of light pollution from a street lamp that was near the telescope. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done. So all these streaks are stars, and the dots in sequence here are the SDO spacecraft once again. And so I uploaded this to astrometry.net. This link is in the video description. You can download the astrometric solution for yourself. And it's noisy, but again, it's there. There's the dots of the SDO spacecraft. You can download the new-image.fits file. This has the WCS information embedded. WCS is, I think it stands for World Coordinate System, something like that. It has basically the coordinate information embedded in the FITS file. So if you open this up in a viewer like SAO Image DS9, which is designed to show you coordinates in a FITS file that has coordinate information embedded, it will show you the coordinates for every pixel in the image. You can also, if you prefer Google Sky, you can download the KMZ file, which will open right up in Google Sky. But for accuracy, nothing beats SAO Image DS9, so I prefer the new-image.fits file. So with that astrometry, I updated the orbital solution for SDO. So this is a list of all the astrometric readings I have for SDO. Now, most of these are from September, but then the last 5 here are from day 306 of the year 2016, which corresponds to October 31st. And these are the astrometric readings I have for the spacecraft from Halloween. And then finally, you have the 2-line elements here at the bottom. These are elements that are in a standard format that many, many different programs use to display satellites. So these are the orbital elements for SDO, determined from my own observations from observing the spacecraft in early September and then at the end of October. And by collecting observations over that kind of time span, you end up with an orbit that is pretty stable over long periods of time. So you notice here the delta T column. This actually tells you how well the orbit that was determined matches the observations in time. And yes, you can see the residuals are all under 1 second. And then this PERR column, this shows you basically the amount of error along the track, and it's in degrees. So we have error ranging from 0 to 0.003 of a degree, which is really good. And then the root mean square error for the observations is 0.00148 degrees. So again, tiny, tiny fractions of a degree, basically a little over 1,000th of a degree is how well on average this orbit matches the observations that were collected. So it's a really nice tight fit, basically under an arc second. So really good fit to the data, and the orbit explains basically that means the orbit explains the data extremely well, and it's a good fit to that data. So basically I've taken that now and I have that in my Excel spreadsheet. I took these orbital elements, put them into my SDO calculation spreadsheet, which has now gone through various iterations. So if you guys remember the stereo behind fiasco with the Nibiru channel, with that situation, we were trying to calculate the position of the moon in the images as seen from stereo behind. So I already had that spreadsheet, and it gave the moon's coordinates in pixels for a given position of the sun in X and Y coordinates and a given size of the sun. So I've basically re-engineered that spreadsheet now to, once again, calculating the position of the moon from SDO instead of stereo. So it's gone back to its roots now, and at the bottom down here we have the orbital elements for SDO, and out of that it computes the position of the moon in pixels, x and y coordinates. So because these observations span such a long period of time, basically almost 2 months, it's pretty stable over relatively long periods of time. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's close enough for our purposes. So you can get the coordinates of the moon in pixels for August 2nd. You can also just change the date here to October 30th and the time that the eclipse was happening then, and you can get the coordinates of the moon for those periods of time too. And if you take these coordinates, which I should also mention, y coordinate in this case is the origin is assumed to be at the bottom left corner of the image, not the top left corner as most programs do, because SAO image DS9 puts the origin at the bottom left corner. So if you plug these coordinates into SAO image DS9, you'll get the answers you're looking for. It will. It's designed to go into that program. So let me share with you that program. So, okay, so here I've taken the coordinates from the spreadsheet for October 30th throughout the time that the eclipse was happening. And you can see this is the trajectory the spreadsheet predicts the moon should move on October 30th relative to the sun. So the red circle represents the virtual position of the sun in the spreadsheet. The green circles represent the position of the moon at various points in time. 2010 UT, 2020, 2030, 2040, etc., etc. As you can see, it is supposed to move across the sun from left to right. Great. Now, that is for October 30th. And if we run the spreadsheet back to August 2nd, we see that the direction was supposed to be right to left, from the bottom right corner to the top left corner. So let me share that with you guys. So here we go. Here's a screenshot of SAO image DS9 with the coordinates of the moon loaded for August 2nd. The image, the background image, is still from October 30th, but we're just using this as sort of a dummy image just to render something over it, because what we're really interested in are the coordinates of the moon over those periods of time on August 2nd. So that's why you see these green circles coming up from the bottom right up to the top left. And once again, the red circle represents the sun and its position and size represented in the spreadsheet. So you can see that on August 2nd, it was supposed to move from the bottom right to the top left. And just in case anyone thinks that I'm like somehow fudging this in the spreadsheet, like, you can check it out for yourself and show me where I'm wrong. But beyond that, you can load the orbital elements that I've calculated, the TLE file, which is also included in the video description. You can load that into any of a variety of programs, like Celestia, for example. And in fact, if I can get Celestia up here, that'd be great. Okay, let's see. Is this going to work? Celestia. Let's see. I hope this shares it. Mari, can you see the Celestia screen here with the moon and the sun properly?
I sure can.
Okay, great. So I got to rotate the view. So let's make sure our view is rotated properly. The ecliptic grid is currently turned on, which is what the SDO images are aligned relative to.
Hold on,
So
it's stuck on a share your screen thing now.
Okay. Is it working now? No?
Nope.
Okay. Shoot. Let me try resetting it. It might have been because I brought up that menu window here. How about now?
Nope.
No? Oh, shoot.
It's getting stuck on the, oh wait, there you go. Got it.
Okay. Apparently it doesn't. All right, great. It doesn't like being maximized for some reason. So, oh, I think it turned off again. No, don't turn off.
No, it's good.
So frustrating. Okay, come on. And How about now? Nothing? Anything?
Not yet. No. Oh, yep. Oh, there,
Okay.
there you go.
Apparently toggling maximus. Nope, it disappeared again, didn't it?
No, wait. It's right up on my
Okay.
screen still.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So let's try to do this without breaking it anymore. The date up at the top is August 2nd. It's a little hard to see because the coordinate grid is here in the way. Let me try to zoom out a little bit. There we go. August 2nd. So can you still see it? Because on my screen, it...
Yeah, I can see it. It's definitely there.
Okay, so as confirmation that I'm orientated the right way, you can see ecliptic longitude are the vertical lines, and then the ecliptic latitude are the horizontal lines. And as you can see, the negative numbers are at the bottom where they should be. The positive numbers are at the top. So that tells us where the orientation is the right way around. And if as I fast forward time, you can see the moon does move in from the bottom right to the top left. Now, if I change the date, hopefully this doesn't break it again. It probably will. Let me go to time, set time, change date to October 30th. Okay,
Still good.
cool. All right. So let me fast forward now to the time of the eclipse. And so here we go again with October 30th, and now it's going to come in from the left, just as the spreadsheet predicts. So why is this? Well, this is because you have to account for the motion of the SDO spacecraft. It's orbiting Earth, and it's in an inclined orbit. It has an inclination of about 28 degrees. So it's not orbiting along the ecliptic. It's not orbiting along the Earth's equator either. It's not in a geostationary orbit. It's in a geosynchronous orbit. So because of this, here comes the moon. We have parallax from SDO's orbit, which is very important. So the spreadsheet accounts for this. It's calculating the position of SDO and taking a look at where the moon is from SDO's perspective over time. So is Celestia. So again, the negative numbers on the horizontal lines are at the bottom of the image, positive numbers on the top, and you can see the moon moves left to right. So you have to account for SDO's motion. You can't assume that the direction of the moon should be any particular way. It could come from the top, it could come from the bottom, it could come from the right, it could come from the left. It just depends on where SDO is in its orbit around the Earth. That matters every bit as much as the moon's motion around the Earth. And because of that, it can appear to come from a variety of directions. It can even appear to stop and reverse direction in the middle of an eclipse. And that's exactly what happened in March of 2011. So let me load up that video and put that in a tab, because I made a prediction about that before it even happened. Let's see. That was a long time ago. I made that prediction in December 2010 using Celestia. And I have to look way, way back in the archives of my videos to find it, but I did make that prediction back then. Like I said, page 12. I've got like a dozen pages or more of videos. It's a little bit further back. I know I'm getting close. September 2010. Oh, here we go. I passed it. Here we go. March 2011. So, all right, let me drop this link in here. So here's a video I rendered in December 2010, months before it even happened. And again, because of the parallax from SDO's orbit and the perfect timing of it, it so happened that the moon just barely grazed the sun, coming in from the top and moving down into the left. And then at a certain point, I'm going to fast forward here a little bit. In fact, wait a minute. They got that new handy-dandy feature in YouTube where you can speed videos up. Okay, let's do 2x speed, a little bit better here. So here we go. It comes in from the top, down into the left, just grazes the edge of the sun. And then it so happens that because of the parallax from SDO's orbit, it appeared that the moon completely stopped in its tracks and came back and went the other way. So as you can see, it's slowing down, comes to a stop, and now it's going to go back the opposite way from where it came. As if the moon just stopped in its orbit and went back. Well, of course, the moon didn't actually physically stop in its orbit and go back the other way. This is just due to parallax from SDO's orbit. And this was predicted, months before it happened. And there it goes. It goes back up the other way. Woo! Cool. So, and a lot of people freaked out about that. And I knew they would, which is one of the reasons I uploaded this video months before it happened. Because, I wanted to be able to say, if anyone asked, yes, that was just the moon. And no, they're not, like, making up excuses after the fact. Like, this was something I predicted before the fact that was going to happen based solely on, SDO's orbit around the Earth. So, and if you don't trust programs like this, you can do the math yourself. That's what I've done. So I've uploaded my spreadsheet. It's in the video description already. So anyone can feel free to download it and check the math for themselves. It's a little more approximate than the calculations that are going to be done in a program like Celestia. It's all stuff that you could actually do on the back of a napkin if your napkin were big enough. You could do the math by hand on it. It's, like I said, it's a little bit approximate. It treats SDO's orbit as pretty much fixed and unchanging. It does include nodal precession, which I covered in my one of my previous videos on SDO's orbit to show why the eclipse seasons are not exactly 6 months apart, because SDO's orbit does change over time, and one of the most important things that causes it to change is the fact that Earth is not a perfect sphere, and that torques the orbit over time. So anyway, it does include basic things like that, but it doesn't include orbital drag. It doesn't include relativity. It's pretty simplistic. But even so, it's good enough to tell that, yes, it was supposed to move from left to right on October 30th, and it was supposed to move from the bottom right to the top left on August 2nd. So anyone can check that for themselves and determine for themselves whether it's consistent with it being the moon. And it turns out it really is. So that, I think, addresses all of WSO's complaints. Oh, one other thing. He mentions the SDO eclipses and how I declared that it, was over for the year. And it is over for the year, but I was referring to the SDO eclipse season, the eclipses that were being caused by the Earth blocking the sun, not the moon. Obviously, the moon is a different matter. It's in its own orbit around the Earth, which is, again, not on the ecliptic. It is inclined both to the ecliptic and to Earth's equator. And so the moon can eclipse the sun from SDO even during times of the year where the Earth cannot eclipse the sun from SDO. Eclipse season refers to the Earth eclipsing the sun from SDO at specific times of the year. And it does so during eclipse season. It's every single day, one after the other, until eclipse season is over. That's not the case with the moon, obviously. So eclipse season refers specifically to the Earth eclipsing the sun, and I thought that was pretty clear, but WSO seems to be trying to confuse the issue there.
I don't think he realizes, he doesn't realize things move in space.
Yeah.
Like things rotate, they move, they have an orbit, but don't investigate it before you, go and freak 50,000 people out. Just go in there and say it's Nibiru blocking the sun. Yeah. Thanks for doing this. This is, you break it down perfectly. And, I'm really excited to see if someone actually checks your math again, because they didn't last time. They just called you conspiracy math, NASA math, whatever.
Yeah, and I kind of expect the same sort of response once again. We have Snarly Pitted Wizard in the chat saying, "Don't fight the truth. You're going to be exposed." Well, Snarly Pitted Wizard, by all means, expose me. I posted the math. It's all on you. Like, if you want to go expose me, then break it down and show where I lied. I mean, it's all out there. Unlike, some of these other channels, I'm not just stating things and, it's my way or the highway. I'm not going to silence you just for disagreeing with me, but I put my money where my mouth is, okay? I've laid out the evidence, and it's up to you guys to show where it's wrong, okay? Ball's in your court. I've laid out the math. If I'm lying, well, math doesn't lie, and so you should be able to show where the math is wrong and where I'm trying to deceive people.
It's so much easier just to call you a NASA shill agent, troll, Luciferian, whatever other, stuff they call you. It's easier to name call and be hostile than do the math. Astronomy Live.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mario, I already gave you moderator powers. I'm going to go ahead. Let's see if he's willing to man up and explain how I'm going to be exposed. I'm going to send him the link here. He wants to join the hangout. Come on in and show me where my math is wrong. Oh, showing over Astrology Live. Yeah, they love to call me Astrology Live. Yeah, funny. No, that's a very different thing. I can't read your birth chart, sign stuff. Like, I don't know anything about astrology. It's not my bag.
You know why they do it.
Oh, I know.
It's so ridiculous. It's like high school, but worse. It's bad.
Okay, yeah. Somebody was asking about sun simulator stuff. There's a really interesting article I read the other day about a real sun simulator. So sun simulators are used in vacuum chambers to literally simulate the sun on spacecraft that are being prepared to go fly in space. They want to test and see if the spacecraft can handle the thermal stresses of being in the vacuum of space and the sun shining on it and all of that. And there was a really interesting series of tests that were conducted in the mid-'60s when NASA was preparing for the Apollo program. And man, let me see if I can find this article. It's really kind of fascinating. They took the Apollo Command and Service Module, which was the mothership of the Apollo program, and they put it in a giant vacuum chamber, and I mean huge. And they sucked all the air out, and they tested the spacecraft, and then they put people in it. So after they tested it unmanned, then they actually did manned tests for days, where people had to live inside the Apollo spacecraft, not in 0G, but in 1G environment, basically, lying on their backs inside this spacecraft that was mounted upright and testing it in vacuum conditions, and with a sun simulator sitting at the top of the chamber and testing thermal conditions and everything else. And they had issues. They had real issues with this. Let me see if I can find vacuum chamber test. And
is this the same thing that they shove all the copyrights? There's a copyright of it, or there's like some kind of trademark.
There's patents. Yeah, I mean,
all that.
Yeah, and I think they take the term sun simulator and they try to make it literal or something, but it's not like a literal thing. It's more like it's here's a great article so Popular Science has an article on this, and they show a picture of the vacuum chamber. Somewhere in here I saw a picture of the whole spacecraft assembled. Where is it? Oh, come on. It was in the, I hate that. It was in the preview picture for the article, but when I go into the article, I don't see the picture. Anyway, I'll post it in the chat here. Where is it? So here's an article about it. So it does talk about the whole simulations they did in the 60s, and they did it with engineers on the ground, including some who were themselves astronauts, and there were also some technicians who did it who were test pilots, but they weren't astronauts. They were just test pilots working at NASA, and that had to be awful. I'm sorry, because the Apollo spacecraft was not that big in terms of like cubic space per person. It was pretty cramped. It was for its time. It was considered luxurious because the Gemini spacecraft, you had two guys sitting inside of a cabin that was about the size of the inside of a Volkswagen Beetle, and they were sitting in there for days and days, having to live with each other. And you think about all the biological processes that have to go on when you're sitting for days, and you're sitting right there next to your buddy, having to take care of your business and all that. And there was no toilet in these spacecraft. I mean, it was just, Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Now, you imagine that it's one thing when you're floating in space and you can kind of make maximum use of all the volume that's there. But when you're on Earth, you don't get to float around. So you're sitting in a cramped capsule for days on end with your buddies and having to live in there on Earth. It's just, oh, that's one heck of a test. And hats off to the gentleman who went through the experience. So here's a picture. It's a picture from Collect Space. That's not the picture I wanted to find. There was a better one.
I don't think it's showing on my screen.
I haven't pulled it up yet. Trying to find. Here we go. Here it is. Here's a nice picture of it. So here you go. It's kind of cropped. I'm not totally happy with this version of it, but it is what it is. I'll keep looking for a higher resolution, better version of it. But you know, here you go. Giant sun simulator, and this is actually a giant vacuum chamber the spacecraft is in, and it never really flew in space. It was just for testing purposes on the ground. But they hooked this whole thing up and did tests on it in space, and it was a good thing they did, because they did discover a variety of problems with the design of the vehicle, and it led to actual changes in the hardware before it ever flew in space. Now, unfortunately, you know, we had the Apollo 1 fire, and 3 astronauts were killed on the pad after these tests occurred. And so they didn't uncover the problems that led to that, which was really from using a pure oxygen environment pressurized to sea level. It's just incredibly dangerous, because things that would normally be mundane suddenly become flammable when you put them in a pure oxygen environment at 1 atmosphere of pressure. So that's what ended up, you know, basically encouraging the conditions for a fire to occur. But because these tests were conducted at a vacuum chamber, they didn't have to pressurize it to sea level pressure. At least not for very long, and not really in the way that they did with the Apollo 1 tests on the pad. You know, they sucked the air out of this chamber to make the conditions very similar to actually being in space. So they could actually pressurize the capsule to a much lower pressure because they were using pure oxygen. You don't need a full atmosphere pressure to provide the sufficient oxygen for a person to breathe. So anyway. It didn't uncover that problem, but it did uncover other problems associated with the spacecraft.
What do you think it
and
would
they fixed
look
those
like?
before flight.
What do you think it'd look like with your H-alpha pointed at it? Sorry,
I
being a wise ass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think you would see much, but certainly no solar flares or anything.
What do they think? They got the artificial sun, and then what is it, like some kind of like solar sail with like holograms like pointed at it? How do they explain all the people looking at the sun in H-alpha? Like, there's no lighthouse lenses or anything. I don't get it. I don't get their whole theory on it. I just toss it outside and not pay attention to it because it's there out there. It makes zero sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make much sense. And you know, I mean, it's not like I should point out that it's not like this is confined to Apollo either in terms of the sun simulator idea. I mean, SpaceX, here's a SpaceX picture of them testing inside a vacuum chamber. It's still, you know, an important test procedure. It's done today on modern spacecraft that are preparing for flight. You know, it's something that goes on all the time, and I'm sure they're constantly improving the technology being used as well. So you'll probably see new patents on sun simulators, you know, as they refine everything. So that's not surprising at all. And it's, I guess, unfortunate again that, you know, they're taking a term that people don't necessarily understand and trying to turn it into something it's not. Here's an interesting picture. This, again, really low resolution, unfortunately. But it gives you a better sense, perhaps, of the scale of this vacuum chamber. Here's all these engineers and people working on it down here. Look how tiny they are compared to this monster of a chamber. It's amazing.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's a huge device, but it's not something that they're trying to fly in space and replace the sun with. I don't even know where to start with something like that, honestly. It's like, where do you even start with that to try to address it and put it to bed? Because I don't know, I guess if you can convince yourself that they're launching a giant device to replace the sun, you must think that humans are pretty much all powerful. I don't know. It's incredible.
I don't get it. I don't get the theory flying around at all. It's crazy to me. There's someone in your chat room, Watcher Naheem.
Mm-hmm.
My pictures are far out of focus. And say, oh, he wants to know about all the new atmospheric stuff that's out there. Sightings, new phenomena in videos and pictures. You know, I studied new phenomena and pictures. It's one of those things, and, you know, I'm not going to shoot this guy down or anything. It's just one of those things, like, you don't notice something, and then it's like, it feels weird. It's like, whoa, what's that? But then as you study it and go back in history and time, it's not new phenomena. If you start studying atmospheric stuff, that's what for that Watcher guy in the chat. That's
Yeah.
my answer. It's one of those things. If you're just starting to look at the sky, everything's weird until you really like assess things and see trends and things repeating and stuff. You realize it's not abnormal after the more you study it. So all you can really do is study it, and then, you know, a few months from now, you'll see what we mean, like what we're talking about, because that's the process of this whole weird vortex called Nibiru Planet X research.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know. There's so many videos out there. Like I've heard it said more eloquently than I'm able to state it, but it's very true that it takes orders of magnitude more time to debunk nonsense than it takes to generate nonsense. You know, anyone can post videos claiming to show something strange in the sky, and, you know, it can take, if you really want to be thorough about addressing it, it takes some serious time. And it's not it's not as hard as just simply saying that it's Planet X, Nibiru, or whatever. That takes no time and no effort. But it takes a lot of time if you want to actually invest the effort to identifying it. So I think Sean was asking in the chat about objects. What do you say? Below the moon and left of the moon. See here. Let me go back to the chat if I can find it. Oh, I'm on the wrong window. Sorry, guys. I was messing with your screen. I was trying to mess with my screen. Okay. Pictures taken early this morning. Bright object left of the moon. Well, okay. Here's one problem. The moon's not visible in the morning right now. It's visible just after sunset, and it sets shortly thereafter. It's a crescent phase currently. So if they were taken earlier this morning, the moon wouldn't be in them. So either he's being dishonest about when he's taking the pictures, or he's using old pictures, and it wasn't from early this morning. So either way, that's going to make it hard to identify. About 7. Identify him Stellarium. Well, I don't have Stellarium pulled up, but I do have Celestia pulled up. Let me see here if I can orient that. Well, okay. It's not the best way to go about it, but just as a quick look-see. Let's have a quick look-see in Stellarium. Celestia. And see if I can get this to work. It's wanting to be finicky about actually showing the view. So, can you see that? Is it working?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, cool. So this is in Florida, and an undisclosed location in Florida. It's not actually quite set on my house, but close enough. So the moon is here, and as you can see, it's crescent phase, and you can't really tell here, but it's facing west. And oh yeah, one of Gil Broussard's predicted positions for his planet 7X is sitting out here, but never mind that. That's from an old video that I did a long time ago. Below the moon, we have Venus, and then to the right of Venus, we have Saturn right now. And it's really quite beautiful in the sky. If you go out just after sunset, you can see Venus. And if you look to the right, you'll see another bright star, not as bright, but that's actually Saturn. And then down and to the left of Venus, I think this is, what is this? I think it's Antares. It's not actually showing the proper name here, but I'm pretty sure it's Antares. And then... let's see, up and to the left, we have Mars. This is another object. If you look in the sky, you'll see it's pretty bright red object, which will be up and to the left of the moon. So, at least in general description, talking about a bright object below the moon and a bright object to the left of the moon, that does seem consistent with Venus and Mars. But keep in mind, this is the situation just after sunset, not in in the early dawn hours. So the moon sets pretty early, as you can see here. If I rewind it, you'll see, okay, here comes sunset. So turn off tracking, there we go. So there's the sun. Just after sunset is when you'll see the moon, and you'll see the scene going on. It's not visible in the early morning hours. In the early morning hours, I want to say Jupiter's up.
Sean is asking you to change the observer location to Sydney.
Sydney? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Sean, can you give me the coordinates for that, just approximately?
Because he's saying Australia's a half day ahead of the US, so to get the timing right.
See, has he posted coordinates there, latitude, longitude for Sydney?
Not yet.
Okay. If you can give me the coordinates, I'll pop on over to Sydney. Any luck?
Okay, 33.8688.
That's south.
South. And
33.8688 south and
151.2093 east.
Okay. Going.
Let's go to Australia.
See if I can get it. Okay, so here we are in Australia, in theory. Let's see. Back it up. Back the truck up. Isn't that what he likes to say?
That is one of his sayings. That's it. Back the truck up.
Okay, so here comes Australia. This is November 3rd by Universal Time. Early morning in Australia. So just over the horizon in the east is Jupiter, but I do not see the moon.
He's saying, look at the moon at sunset.
Yep. Okay. Go to sunset and take a look at the moon. Here we go. So here's the moon situation at sunset. And let me see here, select object, moon. So there's the moon. And we have down and to the left, we have Venus, and then below that, Saturn. And then above and to the right of the moon, we have Mars. So, yeah. I don't know, does that answer the question? I don't know if that's helpful or not.
It's not a lot of action going on in the chat.
Okay.
Sean's gonna queue up his video to compare it.
Okay.
I sort of miss Sean, like, in here. He should be, like, in here with us.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's got the link, so if he wants to join, he can.
Now people want to look at Leeds in the UK.
Okay. All right, let me hang on for Sean to confirm he's done looking at what I got pulled up right now.
He's one-sided and here to downplay everything. All outside, all research, Zacharias. Sitchin's a fraud, dude. Don't even, like, you just retracted the message.
I don't think I've seen that one before. Self-retraction.
Sitchin is like, come on, why are people hooked on him? He was like a science fiction writer. Taking a look at those tablets and talking about aliens and stuff. I don't know where Sean went with that video. I don't even know what video they're talking about.
Yeah, I haven't been able to keep track of.
There's so much stuff
Yeah.
so much stuff flying around. It's hard to keep up with everything. You could waste your whole life like trying to explain stuff to people.
That's why I keep saying my objective is not to be, you know, Mr. Astronomy on YouTube so much as somebody who helps create miniature versions of me and people like me, you know, encouraging people to dig in and do the research and learn how to investigate these things for themselves, because I can't be everywhere all the time. I don't have all the time in the world to work on this. I mean, some of these channels clearly are making a fair bit of money doing it, and it's basically their full-time job. This is not my job. I don't monetize my videos. I don't take donations. I don't make money off this channel. So I just do this in my free time, and I only have a limited amount of that. And so, you know, there's only so much I can do. It's taken me how many days now to respond to a single video uploaded by WSO claiming that SDO showed, you know, a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse from the moon moving the wrong way across the sun. You know, it takes time. And of course, it just naturally takes time to really thoroughly debunk these things by doing, you know, investigation from scratch yourself, like observing the SDO spacecraft, calculating the SDO orbit, plugging that in and doing the math and finding out where things should be. Like, you know, that all takes time. So there's only so much I can personally do.
I'm gonna send you a link.
Oh, I don't have.
Do you have it?
It's not, apparently sent it to me on Skype. I don't have Skype pulled up right now because I didn't want my Skype window popping up for people to see.
I know. I closed out
my
of
contacts.
Skype too.
Okay. All right. Hang on. Let me go
I'm
get my phone.
gonna open it and I'll cut and paste it for you.
Okay.
I'm assuming he did it in that group, so that's good. Hopefully my computer's going to wig out.
Okay, I got it here on my phone. I had put it on charge. Okay, that looks like an older video, to be honest. That looks familiar. I think I know who filmed that, and I think that was quite a while ago. Let me see if I can remember his name. Because oh, that's right, it was that Chihuahua guy. He like came at me in my comments claiming that I was trolling his channel. I'd never been on the guy's channel before. I'd never seen him before. But I assumed at first that it was just the Nibiru channel, you know, trolling me with a sock, because I'd never been on his channel before. I thought that guy was
a sock puppet for Nibiru channel as well. The way he talked and stuff. Yeah, I totally thought it was a sock puppet.
I mean, in my defense, I had never been on his channel before. So if he says I'd been on his channel and he's all certain about it, I have to take that to mean that I've been on his channel, and it must not be the channel he's pretending to use, because I've never been on that particular channel. Oh, shoot, what was his name? Do you remember his name, Mari? I don't remember his handle. It was the Chihuahua guy, like...
all I know is it's Rogue Chihuahua.
Rogue Chihuahua. Okay, that's what it was. Rogue Chihuahua.
He was quite vicious to me as well on my channel and in the comments. I sent the link he sent over. Is this another Nibutard Planet X 2016? Oh, that guy.
Okay, I think I even found... Yeah, I found what looks to be the same video. Or it looks very similar anyway.
I got a...
It could have been a... It could have been a still photo taken the same night, which was way back on October 3rd, or the same morning, whatever it was. Oh, shoot, let me see. Let me take a look at Sean's picture he sent again. Oh, come on. I mean, it looks awfully similar. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. I don't know how I did that, but I didn't want to do it. Okay, how did I seriously do that? Okay, there we go.
It won't even let me screen share.
It looks pretty similar. It may not be quite the same, but it looks awful similar. And yeah, I know this guy like sends footage to Nibiru channel, and that's why he like was attacking me, because I was debunking Nibiru channel and he took all offense to it. And for some reason mistakenly thought I had been on his channel. I hadn't. And then when he finally admitted I hadn't been on his channel, he said that I bad-mouthed his videos because I was bad-mouthing the beer channel, and the beer channel was using his videos basically. So in a roundabout way, I was like bad-mouthing his footage. But I mean, his footage is out of focus. Like here, let me share a link, which is very awfully similar to what Sean was showing in the photo he sent me on Skype. So there's a tree off to the left. You have the oh, hang on, I gotta share the right screen. Stop. Okay. Okay, so Rogue Chihuahua uploaded this video. This was uploaded back on October 3rd. And so you have an out-of-focus moon and you have an out-of-focus Venus below it, I think. So again, I think this was early evening, not early morning. But it could have been... Do we know where this Rogue Chihuahua person actually is? I don't know. Go to his channel here. It says he's in the United States, not...
I think, I want to say
Australia.
he's like out Midwest, like maybe, I don't know. I thought I saw something, he's like in Arizona or Texas or I don't know.
Okay, yeah, let me just try to go here to...
Now, is Scott
I'm just
saying that that's Nibiru on his channel?
Well, he shared that video at some point. I don't know what he said it was. I'm not gonna try to even paraphrase what he said because I don't remember what he said. But I think my suspicion from the look of things is it's probably the same guy's footage, I'm guessing. So let me just see here
Texas.
real quick.
Everyone's saying Texas.
Texas, okay. I'm just curious, like, just want to see, come on, where's the moon? Just want to see. Huh. I don't know. I thought maybe what was going on was, it's hard to say, maybe it is, but I just thought maybe he'd film the moon in the morning earlier in October, not like yesterday morning, but you know,
He
sometime
said
further
the
back.
date on it is, was it today? Sean put in the chat it was from today.
That's what he said, and that's definitely not the case because the moon is definitely not visible in the morning today, regardless of whether you're on Australia or Texas or whatever. But I'm thinking what it could be, maybe. Give me options here. I just want to see. Is it? Porma. I don't think it's Porma. I don't know. That doesn't seem likely. I don't know. It depends on when it was taken, but clearly that picture you sent me, Sean, was not taken today. I guess that's the bottom line of all of this. So yeah, make of it what you will, but wasn't taken today. So yeah, it's Texas. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even if it's in Texas, there's no way he saw the crescent moon early this morning. It sets just after sunset, I've seen the crescent moon. It's, you know, it's on the evening side of things right now, not the morning side of things. So that's not the case. So someone's telling porkies. I don't know. Oh, hey, Sean.
Hello.
Hey, Itch. So what's going on?
Okay. Scott uploaded this video today, this afternoon, actually. According to the timestamp at the bottom right of the video, that the pictures were taken on the 3rd. Obviously, that's not true, unless he was. That's why I said try in Australia, because they're actually half a day ahead of us. So it is possible that it could have been taken, you know, this morning to us and at night for them after midnight, and they still could have got it. But since the angles still don't match, and since we found out that he lives in Texas, I gave you the Texas coordinates, and he could have just messed up with his time setting on his camera, or they could have pasted in the timestamp itself. Because it's just a still, it's not a video.
It's just a still? Okay.
So I gave coordinates in the chat for Austin, Texas, and to see if it lined up with the moon as of right before sunset, or right after sunset last night.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, hey, Rogue Chihuahua. Okay, so he's based in Texas. And if you go to his other videos on his channel, you'll notice that he's not uploaded any new videos for 6 days. And that's since he spoke with me on Skype, where I shared my screen with him. And using Starry Night, I proved to him beyond any doubt that what he was filming was Venus, which he now accepts. He strikes me as being very sincere, having spoken to him. And he's told me that he is going to upload a video acknowledging to all of his viewers and apologizing that he was actually filming Venus and that it was an honest mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's sincere. He's explained to me that he's had some things happening in his real life that have prevented him from uploading the video. But it does concern me a little bit that it's actually been 6 days now, and he did say that he was going to try and upload it the following night or the night after that. He did express that he wanted to prepare a statement to explain things because he was very concerned as a Christian that he had inadvertently misled people with his videos, which he said he certainly didn't want to do. But yeah, this video goes back to the last lunar phase, the thin crescent. If you scroll under the video, it actually does say what date in the description.
He's saying August in the chat. My mute was on. I was like talking the whole time. My mute was on.
Oh no.
Doing good. Derp. But Chicken Little said so. Says that Rogue said this picture was in mid-August.
It was. I'll just forgive me if the audio plays. Let me just.
Hello, YouTube.
Okay, I've just paused that.
No.
It says under that video, it says it was on the 3rd of October.
Now, Dazza, in the actual video itself, at the bottom right, does it have a timestamp? On Scott's, it does.
Okay, no, not in the video. It doesn't. It's just plain video with no date stamp.
Yeah, in Scott's video, there's a red timestamp that says 2016/11/03 for November 11th, or November 3rd, I'm sorry. And it's at like 7:31, I believe. 0731.
Can you send me the link to that, and I'll take a closer look at it? Because I'm well familiar with the videos that Rogue Chihuahua has been posting since I've been looking at those with him.
I'll send you. Actually, I sent the link to the video itself in Skype to the group chat we had going on.
Okay.
Because if I take a screenshot, it puts the stupid YouTube controls in the way of. Let me see if it's still in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That to me doesn't look like one of Rogue Chihuahua's videos. Looking at the screenshot. And you'll notice that all of Rogue Chihuahua's videos are badly out of focus as well.
This one is too.
Okay. At 1:38, I'll have the video.
The timestamp's at around 1:40ish. Actually, 1:37 would be perfect. 1:37.
1:37.
And my supposition is got a bad echo from somebody. Who's it from?
Not me.
It's from DASA.
Bad DASA.
Bad DASA.
I've got the audio.
But my assertion is the object directly below the moon in that photo is Venus in a crescent, just like the moon is.
I think it's Saturn.
You think it's the other way around?
Yeah, I think so. Let me show you a view I have here. This is set from Stellarium to November 2nd. Let me share the view. It looks pretty close to what we're seeing there. Now, what was the date timestamp he had at the bottom? Was it November 2nd?
It was the date timestamp was actually November 3rd, which is why I think he pasted it in.
It almost looks like a 2 to me, but I guess maybe it's a 3.
Because not many video cameras actually put in a timestamp as they're recording anymore.
Right. It's kind of like an old-fashioned thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me.
Ever since they introduced metadata, there was no need for it.
I mean, I guess maybe it could be November 3rd, depending on what location. That's why I
said check south of the equator.
No, but it wouldn't be south of the equator because then everything's turned around. But because you're upside down. But
so I was incorrect. I stand corrected. But yeah, it's the right positions. Just I had it backwards.
Yep.
So there you go, Scott. There's your planets. They're not known planets. You know, his video actually specifically says they are not known planets.
Drives me crazy.
There you go.
You got all these subs, and they take no responsibility for their data integrity. It's like they don't even care. I just can't believe people can be so careless. It's crazy.
Anything that gives them views and money, I mean, it's just, it's what they're after.
So sad.
So another video of Scott's debunked within 6 hours of it going up.
Let me share, because he says they're not known planets. Okay, so maybe I don't know. I've been watching those planets for the last few days. I was at Chiefland Astronomy Village, and I do want to get back to putting that video together, summarizing my time at Chiefland this year. But even since then, since getting back from Chiefland, I filmed a video back on Halloween a few days ago of Venus and Saturn through the telescope, and those are the two stars you see out there in the west just after sunset. And so let me pull up that video if I can get it to come up. Here we go. It's not the best footage I've ever shot, but it's serviceable. Come on. Okay, cool. Now let me just share the view.
Now, night to night, Saturn's path, is it going to be east or west?
Oh, well, hang on. Then let me go back to Stellarium. I believe.
Basically, I want to know if it's setting or rising.
Oh, it gets lower, but Venus is actually getting higher, so they're kind of passing each other. So, like, let me just real quick show date and time, so you guys can see this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So as I go night to night, you can see. Oops, what happened there? Oh, it's the time change. That's what it is. It's the time change. Okay. There we go. So you can see Venus is slowly getting higher and Saturn's slowly getting lower. So they're kind of passing each other in the sky.
Oh, that sucks. I haven't seen Saturn yet this year.
Yeah, I know. It's already getting late in the season for Saturn. So hang on, let me.
Definitely have to break out the telescope tomorrow.
So here's my cruddy video of Saturn the other night. This was not with a Barlow lens or anything. It's just with the video camera at prime focus of my 8-inch LX200. But no,
look what happens when it's actually focused.
Yeah, I know. Clearly, it is Saturn. Like, there's no disputing that. That is Saturn. And then I slewed over to Venus, which at the moment here, at the same exposure setting for Venus, it's overexposed. It's really, really bright. But when I tune that down, oh, there's Venus. It's a gibbous phase Venus. Whoop-de-doo. That's all that is. So, yeah, there are two very well-known planets instead. And then I looked around, cranked up the exposure. I just took a look around Venus and stuff. I don't see any Nibiru's or anything strange going on there. And then...
But yeah, in Scott's video, he's basically saying that what I now understand as Venus is Nemesis, and then the dimmer one is Nibiru.
There you go. Well, there's your Nibiru. There's Saturn. Nibiru Saturn, surrounded by its Nibiru moons. Oh, look, it's a planet surrounded by moons.
No, 2 weeks ago wasn't Jupiter Nibiru?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like every other day there's some kind of new theory. And it's like rehashed from like 2012.
Okay, guys, I've checked in Starry Night. I set the location to Texas, and very definitely it's a match for the Moon, Venus, and Saturn. Earlier this evening, I think it was. It looks to me, though, with the angle, the orientation of the planets compared to the Moon, we're looking at a different latitude than Texas, maybe further north.
I would
in
agree
the
with
US.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I had to crank up the latitude as well.
Yep. So can you suggest a latitude further north for me? I'll change it here.
Try about 47 degrees.
Location?
You mean launch?
Place
See.
name.
Place name? Try Dickinson, North Dakota.
That sounds like incest. I'm sorry.
You're so bad.
I've got
Sorry.
This is a family-friendly channel. This is a family-friendly channel.
I wholly apologize. Just my quick sense of humor kicking in.
Yeah, save that stuff for Red's channel. This is family-friendly.
All right. I wholeheartedly apologize.
Yep, that orientation certainly looks correct for North Dakota.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be at some different longitude, but only the latitude.
Yep, it looks pretty close. So, yeah. And I mean, definitely the angle, we've got that L shape between the Moon, Saturn, and Venus, with Saturn at the in the corner of the L. It's exactly as we see in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the question has to be asked: if anyone's going to deny that either of these other two objects near the Moon are Saturn and Venus, well, then where is Saturn and Venus? Because we know that they are there below the Moon.
Maybe they're behind Nibiru.
It ate them.
Or one of its moons. The whole topic.
Oh, boy.
It gets worse by the day. It just seems more asinine to me, like by the day. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that these guys know what they're doing. You know, they're playing it up for their viewers. They know that this is what gets views, and you know, they know what they're about.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad to me because you guys have really just like time and time again just shown them what they could do just to check your data before putting it out, and it's just blatantly they don't care. There has to be a time where people come and like they realize what these guys, what the channel's intent really truly is.
Well, it's just
like,
so humiliating because, you know, he's constantly saying we've doubled and triple checked everything, and you know, it takes Astronomy Live what 3 minutes to open up a program and say, oh, that's what it is. You know, so they're not checking anything at all. They're just making a narrative.
not anything. I mean, not even just opening up like Stellarium and figuring stuff out just real quick. Before I post this video saying that Nibiru is eclipsing the SDO, I'm just going to pop this in. Just check. They won't do it because they know if they do it, they won't have anything sensational to put up and talk about. And they lose their views and they lose their, you know, monetary dollars, and they lose their subs because it's not entertaining. We're just a bunch of boring buggers. That's what they go. Like all these people want to like watch Nibiru on Steve Olson's channel. It's more entertaining. The Steve and Wayne Show.
Now, you might not know this, Daz, but there's actually laws in the United States that prohibit inciting a panic and inciting a riot. Now, potentially, Scott's channel can actually cause both of those instances. You know, if enough people buy into it and they think that, you know, the world is ending in 3 days, people are going to freak out.
Yeah.
So,
I've wondered that with like Steve Olson's
there is
channel.
actual laws for that. You know, if anybody can be tied back to him for like rioting, and it gets back to it points back to Scott's channel, he's done.
Can you guys see my screen at the moment?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, can you pull that up full screen for me? So this is the view from Dixon, United States. So this is North Dakota. This is 6:48. I'm not sure if that's on daylight saving time at the moment or not. I notice that doesn't actually change the time there. So, but anyway, you can see the moon there, Saturn and Venus, which matches what we see in the video.
Actually, we can see your window. We can't see anything in the window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
That's your old version of Windows, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry. At least get Windows 7.
Yeah, well, I've got that on the other laptop, but yeah.
Oh,
Yep, no, that's definitely that anyway, so no question.
Yeah, it's pretty open and shut. So, anyone else have any major questions they want us to take a look at?
I have no questions. I just popped in so I can actually clarify some of the things I was saying in the chat a little easier.
Yeah, no, thanks for that.
They're just saying it's an advertising strategy. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's no questions in the chat. I'm burnt out from Hangouts after today.
I didn't even know you had a hangout earlier today, Mari. I'm sorry. I missed it.
Oh, it went awful because, well, it wound up good, but the beginning it was hard because it was like 2 hours trying to get Renee, who was this guy that Scott, the Nibiru channel, slandered, trying to get his audio working. It took 2 hours. And then when I got him on, it was just garbled. His internet connection couldn't handle anything. No video, no audio, garble. So
See, you should have contacted me.
can you auto magically fix his audio from afar?
I could help out a whole lot.
I'm gonna have to bother you. Guys don't need me bothering you any more than I already do, though. Just
As long as I'm not working, I'm happy to help.
So yeah, I'm gonna try Skype with him and just do an audio interview because he's a amateur astronomer and he's passionate about debunking people like Scott because he lost someone he knew via suicide back in 2012. So there's a reason why he is sticking around and trying to get the right information out there for people. And I tried to interview him today, but the audio wasn't good. He was like on his cell phone on a data plan, so hopefully I can get him on Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Yeah, get him on a Wi-Fi first of all, and then we can take it from there.
But that hangout lasted well over 2 hours of setup, another 2+ hours of chatting, and now I feel like I've been on Hangouts all day today. It's crazy.
Well,
I got to wrap up this hangout here pretty soon, but thanks everyone for coming out and participating.
Well, thank you for having it.
Yep.
Yeah, this is good. You cleared up it perfectly, so hopefully people can marinate it. Hopefully Steve can learn from this and maybe eventually start thinking about things and how he presents his data when he posts it. I'm so sick of Steve Olson and SDO, period.
Well, we'll see. I suppose SDO Eclipse season will be coming up again next year, and I do plan to make a video predicting when that will happen as we get closer to it, so that
set to give you a reminder.
Thank you, appreciate it. So we'll just apply the orbit determination that I made and see if it comes true. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming out, and check the links in the video description for more information. And see you around. Clear skies, folks.
Night.